What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Moments Smack Talk podcast. If you didn't get enough of us over this past week with all the WrestleMania podcasts, look at this. We're hitting you with another main event here. We're going to do another edition of One More Match, this time focusing on Triple H for reasons that are things that we've been talking about the past few days. But as we go along here, we want to know what you guys have to say. So drop your comments below. Tell us your thoughts on everything that we're talking about here. And you know, tell us what your matches are and your options are of what we end up picking here. Who are we? Well, if you don't know already, I'm your host as always, Tony Mango. Joining me as always are Callum Wiggins.
Spit water. I'm just doing that. I can't really verbalize it.
At first, I was like, Spit Walter. Wait, what? We're talking about Walter already? I'm like, okay. And Robert DeFelice, you just heard him laughing a second ago.
Yeah, it's time to play the game, Tony.
Oh shit, I didn't prepare all that stuff. We gotta play the game instead? Alright, Marry, fuck, kill. No, we are gonna be discussing what if Triple H could come out of retirement, because he did just officially hang up the boots. He left them in the ring at WrestleMania Night 2. And he is done in the ring. As far as, I mean, we've seen plenty of times in the past where somebody has been like, okay, I can't wrestle anymore. And then they have, but this seems like it's one of those situations where it's probably going to stick. So no more Triple H matches, which sucks. But that's the whole point of this. What if he were able to have at least one more match? And the philosophy behind this, as we've done in the past with The Undertaker and with Eddie Guerrero and some other people, is you got to assume, look, you take who they are right now, essentially, you put them on this roster right now, and you try to determine what you would do. It's not, can we go back in time, and can we just, okay, a prime William Regal against a prime Triple H, or, hey, he never got a chance to fight so-and-so from New Japan, or, whatever. You got to work within the realm of Triple H in WWE with this current roster, April 5th, 2022. We might play around a little bit and say, like, what would be the AEW option if he were to ever do that, which he, of course, would never do in top of all the other kind of things. But, that's kind of the whole premise of this. So, like I said, tell us your picks. And if you are dropping a comment on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Ring that little notification bell as well. Hit the join button to get access to the members-only content. I have a playlist on there now of anything that goes into the Darkcast thing is going to be added to this playlist specifically. So if you are someone who pops up a little bit later on and you end up being part of the Darkcast tier or anything higher than that, then that's an easy way for you to just go, which ones did I not check out in the past? And then you can click on that. More than likely, our next Darkcast is going to be our Ring of Honor mock draft. So if anybody is a big ROH fan, that's a little bit of an incentive for you to hop on that tier and help support us in that fashion. But let's get all that stuff out of the way. You guys know how to support us, and if you don't, let me know. I'll leave you some other instructions and everything. Let's start getting into this discussion here. Triple H, leaving a lot of potential matches out there that we could have seen, and there are plenty of different people that I would love to have seen him go up against. But who are some people that you think maybe not necessarily would be your pick, but just some ideas that could have been in that realm where you'd be like, I would have said this, but I've got a better one in mind?
I think it should at least be noted that his last television opponent was Randy, and that's almost as good as anything you can do for Triple H. He and Randy were so tightly knit because of the Evolution stuff and stuff that came years and years later with Legacy. And Randy and Triple H are very kindred in certain ways in their characters. So I do think that that's as good of a last TV opponent as you can get. I keep stressing TV because his last actual match was a tag team with Shinsuke, I believe. And
really? I don't even know that one.
Yeah. So I think Randy is as good as it gets, but also, like, you have to say AJ Styles was going to happen. You know, it was just a matter of finding the right time. And I think that would have been a great match because even Hunter said, well, he can carry me. And Triple H was at a point in his career where that would have been the best option. I mean, Batista was his last Mania, again, similar to Randy, almost as good as it gets kind of thing.
It's kind of funny that, not funny in the sense of like, haha, but funny and strange that the last real big match that Triple H has is to secure the fact that he could have future matches.
Yeah.
That's strange.
You know, and I think the Evolution guys were as good as it gets, but I'm going to say a name that I don't think we'll land on, and that's Tommaso Ciampa, who I think really could have had a special match with Triple H, especially if Triple H ever just decided, I want to work a takeover.
I still really wish we could have gotten Triple H and Shawn Michaels against Gargano and Ciampa.
I'm sure that all parties talked about that match. That would have been really good.
That's a shame. What about you, Callum? Is there anybody that you have on that like C tier of like, all right, I wouldn't go with this one, but I'd be intrigued?
I'm going to preface this by saying that I've done no preparation for this podcast. And
yeah, there's nothing to really prepare. It's just sort of,
yeah. But part of the reason for that is also that, again, maybe this is why I'm probably not as ideally placed to be talking about the subject. I don't really want to see Triple H wrestle again. And I was kind of not happy with him retiring on terms that he did retire, because obviously he should go out on his own terms rather than be forced into it in the way that his career came to an end. But I was kind of, in the years leading up to that point, I was kind of, okay, we're kind of done here, really. And that's partly just due to the fact that, as we've discussed past, I'm not the biggest Triple H in-ring fan. And I think all of his greatest matches are against people who have great matches more regularly than he does. So finding someone to have his final match with would mean that I'd have to find someone who I think is a better worker than he is. And that would probably mean looking at some potential lower options, you're probably looking at people like a Riddle, maybe, or a Chad Gable, maybe. Someone who could, as Rob said beforehand, carry Triple H to have a good match at this point in his career. But it's hard for me to really think of too many ones off the top of my head, or too many ones that I'm really would be really stoked to. Yeah, I really want to see Triple H have this one, because I was kind of out of those before he even stopped wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, that's I know what you're getting at. It's not necessarily that you're like, oh, I'm happy that he's retired, but it's just like, he's not somebody who you would be like, man, if I could, he would be on my top list for somebody that I could bring back for one more match kind of deal, right?
Yeah. It's like, I've seen most of his recent matches, and it's not like he can't have great matches, and he still did towards the back end of his career. I think the last actually very good match that he had was probably the match against Seth. That's probably the last top level match that he had, and even that one was way too long, which is a staple of Triple H's matches. Because you also have to consider that if he is going to have one more match, it's going to go about 38 minutes. So you have to take that into consideration as well. But yeah, I there's not really that many people that get me super excited. There are a few, but I'll probably save those when we actually go into the actual discussion part.
So a couple names just looking on this roster that I'm sure some people out there would have higher up than I would be, say, Finn Balor, or Shinsuke Nakamura would be one. Riddle, of course, is somebody who, if we could have, 20 more matches for Triple H, then we start getting into some of these more. How is your philosophy for these usually, when we're picking these kind of things? Do you guys tend to go more for I want it to mean something to end his career, or do you go more for I want it to be a match I haven't seen before, or do you just want it to be the best possible match? Or kind of like how I do, where I want a combination of the three. I'll sacrifice something that doesn't mean as much if the match is going to be better, but at the same time, I want it to still mean something. So I'm trying to go for like a proper balance, and I'd rather have if everything gets like a 10 score, obviously you want to get a 10 for everything, but I would rather have like an 8 all across the board than a 10 for meaning something, but a 4 for the match quality. You know where I'm getting at? How do you guys kind of rank those things?
I think it's, first of all, it depends on the wrestler. Because for some people, you might be like, I'll take a 10 match with a 4 story because I know that the match would be really good. With Triple H, I think story means more than match. So I would rather, if we're just going to calculate things out of 10, I'd rather, a 9 on the story, maybe 6, 7 on the match quality. If we're going a little lower. And I don't really care if it's somebody he's already faced before, because in a case like Triple H, I don't know if I would pull him out of retirement for a match against Shinsuke. I don't know if that needs to happen.
Yeah, as Rob says, it varies from wrestler to wrestler. If it's Eddie Guerrero or it's Shawn Michaels, then I would just want to have the best match possible. Like put him up with someone that I think would have a great match with them. If it's The Undertaker or Triple H, then you're looking more at the story aspects, because I don't think that the match quality would live up to the other people's. So you're for this one, I think you're going for someone who makes thematic sense for Triple H more than you're looking for his perfect sparring partner.
Yeah, and obviously with some people like Hulk Hogan, you're not going to get a great match no matter what. So it's like, all right, let's go with who's going to be the person that stands across from him and everybody goes fucking nuts just by looking at the visual and whatever. With Triple H, here's a name that I want to toss out as a possibility, who, if I'm looking at some options, I would at least entertain this. Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Because not only do we know that Kevin Owens has a great relationship with Triple H, and they do have a little bit of a backstory with him handing him the Universal Championship and all that, we know that Kevin Owens can go. We know that the promos would be good. And I would trust that Kevin Owens could anchor the match, but also in a way make Triple H look good and not just be like, okay, well, I'm going to do all my spots and that's the end of it kind of deal. Like, he would be able to tell the story as well. So he'd be high up there. I don't think he would necessarily be my pick. He might be like my number 2, but he would definitely be up there.
I mean, in fairness, we just saw KO have a blast with Steve Austin, who we never thought would wrestle again. And it was fantastic. I imagine this one would be much better because of storytelling elements.
Imagine if we would have just a couple weeks ago decided to do that one more match, Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, and just been like, well, who would you? Like, because a couple of years ago it would have been Orton, it would have been Punk, it would have been a bunch of other people. But then look at that, Kevin Owens. What about you, Kevin? You think on the Kevin Owens spectrum, is he potential yes?
Oh, he's like one of the few choices that I would have to do this. But he's great in the ring. He'd be able to carry expertly. He can mix up his styles. He's a great wrestler, but then he can do all the brawling on the outside as well. They can make it a no DQ match, and he can make it really great in that area as well. Yeah, I'd say Kevin Owens is...
He's high on the short list.
Yeah, pretty much. Even though there are other options there, I'd lean towards him maybe as the ideal choice.
I could tell a couple of the people I forgot to mention as on that, like, I could see people picking them, but I wouldn't. Drew McIntyre, I could see people picking, but I wouldn't go there in that direction. It's a shame we never got a proper Robert Roode against Triple H match, because that just seems like that writes itself. I don't think anybody would be picking like Ezekiel. I know that some people out there would go, well, the biggest match is Roman Reigns, but fuck, we've seen it. Like,
we've seen it.
I wouldn't go in that direction in any means.
In fact, I'd make the argument he was instrumental in getting Roman to that level, and Roman was instrumental in giving him that last, great moment. And I think we were good with what we saw from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what else is there to do with those two?
Have a good match.
I mean, there's that, but
I'm going to respectfully just move on from that.
I'm not talking out of turn. Am I by saying their WrestleMania 32 main event is one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history?
Nobody could have given a shit. Yeah, it's just
but it's like nobody could have given a shit. I don't know if that's down to the performers or if it's just down to we knew where this was going and we've been sitting here for 5 hours.
Oh yeah, it was a perfect storm with absolutely nobody caring. But but maybe that's part of the reason why maybe it should be Roman Reigns in order to right the wrong of that. Have Roman Reigns come in as the heel that he was treated like in that match, and Triple H, like if it is like a quote unquote retirement match, then Roman is a good choice to just end his career once and for all.
Just have Roman end a whole bunch of people's careers. I mean, at this point, he doesn't have many more accolades left that he could do.
Yeah, you might as well. He pretty much ended the Undertaker's.
Pretty much, yeah. He probably should have been the person that broke the streak. It's a shame. We mentioned AJ Styles. That's a major potential pick.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Styles is the fucking man. And had Undertaker's last match legit. And I always say to you guys, who would have ever thought? And it's true, but AJ is that good. AJ is the guy who probably had John Cena's last good match. I can't see John Cena ever having a better match than what he did with AJ at the 2017 Royal Rumble. And I think he would have been able to carry Triple H. I think he could have carried Michaels back when they were trying to get Michaels out of retirement for that one.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. We got Austin and McMahon wrestling this year for WrestleMania.
I never want to see Shawn Michaels wrestle ever again. I could say that comfortably, okay?
Maybe they'll just give him a wig or something.
I think with AJ, that's one that I would be pushing for if it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Now I don't.
He's so firmly entrenched in mid card that it doesn't feel as special if it was AJ and Triple H.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, not only would Triple H have been able to do it and do it much better, but it would have meant a lot more if it's AJ fresh off of coming to WWE and being like, I gotta work through these people as like barriers. I'm not going to be respected in WWE until I can beat Triple H. I'm not going to be respected until I beat John Cena, even though they're not allowed to say beat up John Cena. Apparently that was the thing that they got like upset about that. But like that story should have been told. And they did the typical thing of, we could do it another time. And then now they can't. So, before anybody says it, not Charlotte Flair. Just because I know somebody down the line would be like, wouldn't that be great for Charlotte to fight Triple H in an intergender match? I don't like intergender matches. It's just not my thing. Not that one of you two would have said it, but I am somebody somewhere out there on Twitter or whatever would be like, how about that option? The Flairs and not the family's connection. A point. Nah. But here's a name that I think we all could kind of go, yup, okay, that's. If it's not Kevin Owens, it could be this one. Cody Rhodes.
Well, I was saving that for the end.
It's really, those are my two picks.
I thought we were going to discuss a little more, but yeah. Cody Rhodes, especially now. It was before, but in 72 hours, Cody Rhodes has talked ad nauseum about Triple H being his favorite wrestler and
really,
it meaning so much to him to have had Triple H be the last one to see him before he went out to Mania. So yeah, Cody Rhodes is my pick. Cody just wants to bring it up now.
Well, You say you're going to bring it up now. How many more people actually do we have to talk about?
Right. Yeah, we're not going to really have in-depth discussion about Jinder Mahal.
Yeah. He's gonna fight Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz in a 2-on-1 handicap match. In the, by the way, like legitimately, there's only like a handful of people who possibly be. Cody is the most obvious choice just because of the parallels from his time in AEW and how he spent so much time. I don't say mocking, but utilizing the position that Triple H had with NXT in order to generate some buzz, the sledgehammer to the throne, the golden shovel, all this stuff. And they could play into that side of things a lot. Triple H could play into the fact that he could call Cody somebody who realized that he couldn't hang with the big boys. He had to go start his own little toy promotion or anything like that, his own t-shirt company or anything along those lines, and then come back eventually. The fact that he wasn't even able to win the big one in his own promotion probably play off that story as well. And yeah, I think there's a lot that they could get storyline wise, and that would add the most animosity and intrigue into the match. The match itself would be, I mean, talk about two guys that really play into the melodrama. So I imagine it would go long, but they'd basically make the most out of nothing. It'd just be like a few punches to the outside, a few like stuff like that, and then bask in the crowd's adulation for 3 minutes after every move. But that's kind of how you have to make these sort of matches work. I imagine it would probably also be an no DQ match, because that was pretty much what Triple H was doing towards the end of his career anyway.
Yeah, that way it's a little bit more flexible to do something like he could pull out the sledgehammer and you're going to go, oh my God, I know the sledgehammer's coming. And then, yeah. Another element of their story too, which I would assume that they would definitely end up doing, is the whole Dusty's Kids thing. And it could be like the gall that you have to have had this NXT thing with Dusty's Kids while I'm Dusty's kid. And he makes this promotion and it goes from nothing to something and you take it over. And now it's just a paint splatter show with a bunch of no names losing to the company that I just left kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I think that's the most thematically satisfying match. It's one we could tell the best story in. It has a pre-built story that you can really just elevate, and that will make up for any potential shortcomings in the match. Not obviously because both guys are still good to great workers, even at the end of Triple H's career. It obviously just means that he's a tad slower than he once was. Actually, there's another name that I thought of that just came into my head, which I don't think is a major choice, but one that I would be slightly interested with for similar thematic reasons would be, well, Pete Dunne if he was still Pete Dunne.
And here I thought you were going to say Ric Flair. No, but Pete Dunne would be amazing. I don't want to call him Butch. I mean, prior to the defibrillator being added, to be honest, Walter would be amazing, but I don't think we need to see him getting chopped in the chest. You know, like, I think he could have had a great match with either one of these individuals. I think Pete would have been a better wrestling match. I think the one we never got really was the Adam Cole match.
That would have been another good match too, yeah.
You know, and it would have made so much sense because Adam Cole was his guy, he was Sean's guy. Like, it was cool to see them give so much love to him. But there are so many NXT kids that I always wanted to see Triple H fight.
I mean, Samoa Joe is another one that, like, how did we not get that, you know?
And then when you start talking about Joe, you can get into, like, Joe in Ring of Honor against Triple H in 2004. Joe in 08 against Hunter in 08. Like, any way you want to slice this, Joe would have been the perfect opponent for Triple H at some point in his career. You know, and it's really hard to believe that we didn't get it. And yeah. But like, for me, unlike Callum, Triple H is one of my guys who I would probably love to have just one more match. You know? And we'll never get that. But for me, it would probably be Cody.
I think if I had to pick on the WWE side, we're going to talk a little bit about, like, elsewhere just for the sake of it. I think I'd ultimately, my number 3 pick would be AJ Styles. My number 2 pick would be Kevin Owens, and my number 1 would be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I'd say pretty similar. 1 would be Cody, 2 would be Kevin Owens. I think my 3rd would probably be. Now that I've thought about it, the Pete Dunne one sounds quite appealing to me, so I'd probably go that route.
Oh, for me, it would be 1 Cody, 2 KO, and 3 probably Ciampa.
Just for the sake of it, because now we actually have an odd scenario where we all have the same person already at the top, and we have the same person at number 2. I'm gonna put that down for our records for that. So my number 3 was Styles, Rob's was Ciampa, and Callum's was Pete Dunne. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That's Rob. That's just for my notes. I'll have this on the Smark MMA wiki page for anybody who follows that kind of deal. But now on the potential of other things, just because I know we know what our consensus pick is here, it's very clearly Mace.
Omos, if he is managed by MVP.
Oh yeah.
AEW, let's just say theoretically, on top of theoretically, on top of theoretically, all these multi-layers.
That's
well,
obvious.
I just told you.
It's obvious who the AEW pick is.
That's right.
Well, is it?
Adam Page.
Because there are some people. I mean, there's Adam Cole.
It's number 1 CM Punk, number 2 Adam Cole, number 3. Give me a name, Callum.
Fuego.
That's right.
There's just Kenny Omega.
I do not want to fucking see Kenny Omega versus Triple H. All due respect to Kenny, it's a 2 different styles of great.
Yeah,
Kenny,
I don't think Triple H could keep up with Kenny Omega.
Kenny is running.
I don't think he could either, but still. Still, it would be one of the ones that you would have to have a discussion about, at least to potentially do. Like, I would love to see Keith Lee versus Triple H. A proper John Moxley versus Triple H hardcore match at this point would make a lot of sense to me. It wouldn't be my pick, but like, there's Shawn Michaels and Triple H against the Young Bucks. Could be a lot of fun.
No, recently, that actually, considering some of his recent matches, I'd like to see Triple H versus Dax Harwood. He's so good. He is so good.
I think they'd have fun.
Yeah. Look at some other options. I mean, Jungle Boy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like, I don't know whether that would really work. Malachi Black would be interesting. Oh, MJF. MJF's an obvious choice.
MJF would have a fun. There would be a fun story there.
MJF is perfect to have a match with Triple H because he adapts to whatever style he's wrestling against, and like he can obviously build the feud up excellently with promos. I mean, how many things is he going to attack in Triple H's character?
Right,
to really build up to this one.
Shit, I'd even go with an option of something like, okay, you go with like Triple H versus I don't know, say like Adam Cole, but MJF is there just cutting promos for the sake of it, because it's like the promos with Triple H and MJF would be better than the match itself, even, I would assume.
Yeah, I just think it would be, as you'd expect, just like tons of fun with those two, because he plays off that stuff so well. And I probably shouldn't ask about this one because I don't know off the top of if it was like a few years down the line, because I don't think she's particularly old at the moment, but if it was like, I don't know, a match that took place 5 years from now, he'd probably make some jokes referencing one of Triple H's daughters and really get under his skin. Let's say maybe I can marry into the royal family and
right.
stuff like that as well. Just like, yeah.
Or better yet, I mean, obviously, like you said, if this was like 5 years down the line, he would make the joke of, I would try, but you don't even have enough power to make it worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he would just have a fucking ball with it, or I mean, the amount of things that he could just target without even getting into like Steph or Vince or anything, just about like Triple H's career and just talk about DX and talk about the game and the King of Kings and Katie Vick and talk about China and like, I mean, god damn the amount of things that would be good on that.
Yeah, there's I think that would be great as well. I mean, we've seen it multiple times, but it would be very thematic for it to be Chris Jericho. They've had a very long and storied rivalry, so to kind of end it on that note might be interesting as well. I mean, Triple H is only like a year older than Jericho, so their stories have been kind of a bit in parallel. So, and I know we joked about it, but like Adam Page actually would be a very good match.
Yeah, obviously Page would have to be the babyface.
Moxley, we know he's had good matches with Dean Ambrose, but John Moxley's a bit of a different proposition.
He did wrestle Ambrose one-on-one. I always forget that one.
Yeah. Way better than the Roman Reigns match.
We didn't mention it because he's kind of floating right now, but obviously Gargano in a singles match as well.
Mm-hmm. And even though Samoa Joe is fresh to this whole AEW thing, it's one of those things where it's like, there's the Samoa Joe thing. You could do that. Like,
Brian gave him his last really, really, really good match. So there's always Brian.
John Silver. It's like, I mean, John Silver's great, but
Billy Gunn.
The one and only pick.
Who's the pissant now? Like,
yeah, I think
obviously Danhausen.
I think that ultimately, I mean, that would pretty much come down to it's kind of the Adam Cole, MJF, CM Punk, Samoa Joe kind of field.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
I don't know. I think I'd still lean towards CM Punk.
I mean, that's just so much history and story you could tell on that one. Like, if they're both willing to do business, then it would just be like how much history and how much like really like real life animosity can they pull out of each other and make it into such a heated personal match. I'd say that match to me is more appealing than the Cody match.
I don't know. See, I think the Punk story is more interesting, but I think that the Cody match would end up being better.
I don't think the Punk story...
Yeah, I don't know what parameters you say the match is better. Punk's better than Cody.
But I would flip that completely, actually. I think the Cody story would be better. Because the Punk story, and this might be personal taste, like, I'm good on the whole, you tried to hold me back, like that. I'm sure they would find ways to make it interesting, but on the surface, like, we've seen the you've held me back story. In fact, it would just be what they did 10 years ago with more vitriol. We know the score. They didn't really get along all that well. I'd like to see Hunter as a heel telling Cody, you literally tried to be me. You made your wife a chief brand officer. You thought you could be an executive in a company, and it was just too much for you because you're not me.
Your song's Kingdom, but I'm the King of Kings.
Right, like,
yeah.
You tried to be Dusty. You tried to be me. You don't know who you are. Like, you could have a lot more fun with that, I think.
Assuming we go with that, we would all, of course, pick the Cody Rhodes thing. We'd all go Cody Rhodes wins, right?
Yeah, anybody that I'd say takes on Triple H in their final match. Out of the ones that we've really mentioned as being the top choices, I'd say they should beat Triple H.
I would think maybe Kevin Owens could lose.
Yeah, but that's always the case with Kevin Owens. It's like I know he had the match with Austin and lost that one, but
he was. I mean, come on.
I think that's a little different as well with Austin. Like, that's the biggest wrestling star of all time, and it was 19 years after his final match, and it was in Dallas, Texas. It's like all the stuff kind of combined into, you have to have Austin win. With Triple H, I think that he's the type of guy, especially with the traditional roots that he has, he would go out on his back. And it makes Kevin Owens better. Like, as much as that match with Austin was a fun thing, I kind of want to see Owens, win matches and elevate himself, and maybe eventually be in a position to win the world championship again. But he's not really going to do that if he's just losing to every 50-year-old that comes into the company.
Maybe he could have beaten Kurt Angle instead of Baron Corbin.
Well, hang on, Tony. Let's not go too far. I mean, they capitalized on that so perfectly.
Yeah, well, he's happy now. He's so happy from beating Kurt Angle.
They made such a huge deal about it, and he got a main event push and all this.
He's happy.
Yeah, look, as much of a Baron Corbin apologist as I am, I still don't fucking get why they did that. This doesn't make any sense to me to have that. It should have been John Cena. But no, that's for a future one more match, Kurt Angle, I guess. So we are going Cody Rhodes, and it's not just because Cody Rhodes is like the hot ticket item right now. It's because we would have said Cody Rhodes when he was on the AEW side of things. Like, it's the story's there, and I think that the match would have been really cool. So it's a shame we're not going to get it. That's always the depressing part of one more match, is always like, oh yeah, this would be good and that would be good, and it's not happening. Boo. But that's it's part of the discussion, it's part of the game, how you play it. If anybody has any other suggestions, I'd love to hear them in the comments. So if you have this idea in mind of like, here's my pitch for a really good match that could be a feud with I don't know, fucking Big Show or someone, then I'd love to hear that. So leave a comment, tell us your thoughts, tell us what your ranking would be if you got a couple, like a top 3, kind of like we did, or a top 5 or something, or hell, do a top 10. I don't know, do a little top rope list while you're at it. But we are signing off on the Cody Rhodes pick, and I think that's about it. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm so happy that with career over, we can start looking back at the good instead of just being like, yeah, he held everybody down and fuck him. Because I've always been a Triple H fan, and I think he ate a lot of shit for a lot of years.
Deservedly so, in some instances. In some instances, but yeah, it's he got the send off that he deserved in front of thousands of people, and yeah, as much as like he's not my guy, I appreciate that he was a lot of other people's guy, and he did produce some great matches and great moments throughout his entire career. And I'll always look back on the matches like the street fight with Cactus Jack, and the triple threat from WrestleMania 20 and Backlash 2004, and I'm trying to think of several other ones that stand out, like the Hell in a Cell match with Michaels. Actually, not the Hell in a Cell, the Street Fight. The Street Fight's the better match out of those two ones. But that entire feud with Michaels, for the most part, was great as well. So, yeah, a very good career, and it's again sad that he wasn't able to end it on his own terms. But it's good that he's healthy, or as healthy as he can be, and he'll get to carry forward and continue what has been good work for the most part behind the scenes.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, that is our pick and our whole discussion on One More Match Triple H. Also, tell us who you'd like us to do another edition of this in the future. We typically don't do this all that often. It's only when something prompts it, like the retirement angle. But I mean, you got the pick a poison tier. So if you do want us to just kind of out of the blue do one more match for Ric Flair, or one more match Mr. Perfect or something, I don't know, because we could always just do that hypothetically, that kind of thing, then keep that in mind. And if you donate to that tier, you get to request that. That's kind of the whole point of Pick a Poison. But while you are leaving your comments and stuff, make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. And go over to fanboysanonymous.com, see what's happening over there. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is coming out soon. So Caroline and I might do some kind of a review or something like we've done for Morbius, which sucks, and the Batman, which was great. And maybe we'll do some other kind of things. I don't know, here and there. I still would like to just do so much more content for fanboys. And I've got way too many ideas on the back burner, but we'll get around to that when we can. But if you want to check out anything else that I got going on, follow me at Tony Mango and make sure that you follow what these guys are up to as well. Rob?
Yeah, follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. Check out Fightful and Fightful Select. And check out what Callan's got going on, because he's awesome.
Yep, follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. Check out the power rankings every single week, as well as all the other stuff that's going out on smarkmo.com. And Fantasy League is now on hiatus at the end of the previous season, but it will be returning soon. And yeah, make sure you follow that along once it's up and running back on the website again.
Alrighty, everybody, smarkoutmoment.com is where you'll find everything else. So just click around until the next time, which will be the hot tags, where we're going to address Ezekiel. Kind of looks familiar. I don't know. And some other things that are happening in the world of pro wrestling over these past few days from WrestleMania that we haven't addressed yet. So we'll see you on Monday, or not Monday. Wow, I'm already just skipping a whole week. See you on Friday. And then next week, we're going to do that ROH Darkcast. And then that Friday, unfortunately, knock on wood, we've got that mailbag for quarter 2 coming up. So we'll see what April 15th has in store. But meantime, we will just be hanging out the way that we normally are. So, tweet at us or something like that, and we will see you when we see you. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.